5 unforgettable days around Queensland and flying with a low-cost carrier. In today's video, we're exploring the state with the infamous low-cost airline Jetstar. Now, Jetstar is one of those carriers people either love or hate, and as an AvGeek, I'm here to give you my honest take from start to finish. But that's not all. I'll also take you along on my 5-day adventure across Queensland, from Brisbane to the Gold Coast. We'll check out iconic spots like the Q1 Tower, Dreamworld, Movieworld, and of course, some stunning beaches. Without further ado, let's begin. Good morning from Melbourne. It's currently 5:45 a.m., and today marks the start of my 5-day adventure across Queensland. I'll be flying on Jetstar Flight 562 from Melbourne to Tullamarine to Brisbane on board their Airbus A320. This early morning departure gives me a full day ahead in Brisbane, so I'm definitely excited. And here we are at Melbourne Tullamarine Airport, Terminal 4 to be exact. It's early, and the terminal's already alive with the usual hustle of budget carriers. As I was walking over, I noticed the crew of Emirates Flight 406 from Dubai and Japan Airlines 773 from Tokyo boarding their buses to the hotels. Makes me think, I really hope I can head overseas again sometime soon. For now, though, it's all about this trip. I grabbed my luggage and headed straight into Terminal 4, ready to check in for my Jetstar flight. Let's see how the experience stacks up. Check-in was pretty straightforward. The staff at the Jetstar counter were nice and professional, which is always a good start to any trip. They were genuinely helpful when I had questions, but I could sense a bit of that early morning frustration in the air, especially when it came to putting the tag on my bag correctly. Still, nothing major, and overall the experience was pleasant enough for a budget carrier. We're now heading through security. As always, at Melbourne Tullamarine Terminal 4, the process is fairly efficient, though the lines can be a little slow with so many early morning departures. Luckily, it didn't take too long, and I was through and ready to explore the terminal in no time. After clearing security, I had some time before boarding began. I started by filming some planes and spotted several Virgin Australia 737s, along with a LOTAM 787 that operates the daily service between Melbourne and Santiago, Chile. Afterwards, I stopped by McDonald's for a small snack before making the long walk to Gate 47. Boarding soon began for our flight, and as I stepped out of the terminal onto the tarmac, the cold morning air hit me. But so did the excitement as I caught sight of our aircraft. Here's our plane for today, a 15-year-old Airbus A320, registered Victor Hotel Victor Golf Yankee, which was delivered to Jetstar back in 2010. And welcome on board the Jetstar Airbus A320. My first impressions of the cabin are that it's pretty standard, nothing out of the ordinary. Obviously, you wouldn't expect the same level of comfort as an airline like Emirates, but the seats themselves were clean and well maintained. As for the legroom, which is often a big concern with low-cost carriers, it was actually all right for me. It was tight, yes, but not uncomfortably so. There was enough space under the seat to store my bag, which helped. One thing I noticed, though, was the tray table. It's fixed quite close to you, and unlike on Emirates or other full-service carriers, there's no way to adjust how far in or out you want it. Overall, though, my first impressions of Jetstar's A320 are quite good. After boarding was completed, the crew performed the safety demonstration as we prepared for departure. Soon after, we began our pushback from the gate and made our way towards runway 34. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the Airbus A320's engines coming to life.
Yes, I'm ready.
Are you going to film this, Ken?
Yeah.
You sure that one?
This is so scary. Yeah, we go.
Shortly after takeoff, the crew began their meal service. Fortunately, on today's flight, my tour group and I were given $10 vouchers to use, which was a nice surprise. I decided to keep it simple and went with an orange juice and some water. My honest review of the crew is very positive. They were nice, friendly, and seemed genuinely passionate about their job, especially for a low-cost carrier. The moment I pressed the call button, they came quickly to assist me, which I really appreciated. That said, one small negative I noticed was the pace of the meal service. For a 1 hour and 45-minute flight, it took around 30 minutes to get my order. While that's not unreasonable, I did feel it was slightly slow, considering I was seated only mid-cabin. Still, overall, this experience has been really good, much better than I expected from Jetstar. And here we are in the lavatory of this Airbus A320. As expected on a narrow-body aircraft, the space was quite compact but manageable. The toilet itself was in good condition, clean enough, though not spotless, likely because several passengers had already used it earlier in the flight. Overall, it was perfectly functional for a short hop like this. During the flight, Jetstar offered free Wi-Fi, but here's the catch. The free Wi-Fi only gave access to the Jetstar website, which you could use on your phone or tablet. Through the site, you could check out the flight map and access some entertainment options like movies and TV shows. However, it didn't allow you to use social media, messaging apps, or play online games. Before landing, I also managed to pick up an Airbus A320 model from the in-flight sales. It's a nice little addition to my collection and a great way to remember this trip. So now, with approximately 30 minutes left before landing, I can say that today's flight on Jetstar has overall exceeded my expectations. This was mainly thanks to the positive attitude of the crew and the $10 vouchers we were given, which added a really nice touch. The seat and overall comfort were all right. Nothing extraordinary, but nothing concerning either. As expected, there were a few things worth noting. Firstly, the lavatory could have been cleaner, though to be fair, this is a low-cost airline, and I only visited it about 3/4 of the way into the flight, after many passengers had already used it. Secondly, the meal service felt a little slow, taking around 45 minutes to complete. But again, given Jetstar's low-cost model, I can't be too harsh here. One area where Jetstar really stood out, and where they can be compared to full-service carriers, is their commitment to safety. Safety should always be the top priority of any airline, regardless of whether it's a budget or full-service carrier. The crew on this flight made sure seatbelts were fastened, seats were upright, and safety protocols were followed throughout. That's exactly what I want to see from every airline. I hope to see Jetstar continue improving over the next few years, especially after the financial struggles their sister airline Jetstar Asia faced, which is sadly ceasing operations on July 31st, with its aircraft set to join Jetstar Australia. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the landing into Brisbane Airport.
Welcome to Brisbane, where the local time is 12:07 p.m. Please keep your seatbelt fastened and remain seated until the seatbelt sign has been switched off. Sit down.
Thank you.
And welcome to Brisbane Airport. This is actually my first time here, and the moment I stepped off the plane, I could immediately feel the heat. Such a huge contrast to the freezing cold weather back in Melbourne. As I stepped out of the plane's exit, I noticed an older lady walking quickly toward the aircraft. Then, the moment I stepped foot onto the concrete, she aggressively told me off for filming. It happened so suddenly and with such intensity, it really caught me off guard. I understand rules are rules, but the way she approached me felt unnecessarily harsh and unprofessional. Inside the domestic terminal, it was a completely different kind of atmosphere, extremely chaotic and packed with people, almost giving me Kalia vibes back in Malaysia. Still, I managed to grab my baggage without too much hassle and made my way out of the airport towards my accommodation to kick off this 5-day adventure. Welcome to our accommodation, the YHA. This place turned out to be extremely good for the price. It had convenient features like a vending machine, beds with privacy curtains for each bunk, and even a nice view from the common areas. One thing to note, though, is that the bathrooms here are shared. I had honestly hoped for individual bathrooms, but it wasn't a huge deal. All in all, this is a great place to stay, and I've definitely seen much worse before. We spent the first 2 days of our Queensland trip specifically in Brisbane, stopping by a few supermarkets, attending music rehearsals, and exploring the overall vibe of the city.
You spotted it, mate. You spotted it.
Yeah, it's wearing like jeans and a pink. Yeah. Hey! Wait! Bro, you don't even hold on to me. It's not as woman.
After spending the first 2 days here in Brisbane with a mix of rehearsals, supermarket stops, and exploring parts of the city, I'm finally back at the YHA. I'm pretty tired now and ready to call it a night. Good night, and I'll see you tomorrow for an exciting day at Movieworld. The morning woke me up unexpectedly at 6:30 to the sound of a loud siren blaring throughout the building. A voice repeated, "Evacuation. Please leave the premises immediately." At first, I was half awake and half asleep, thinking I was imagining it, but then I realized it was real. Everyone evacuated the building in a rush, some still in their pajamas, all a little fearful of what might be happening. I was extremely puzzled as I didn't see any signs of fire, though soon after, firefighters arrived on the scene. Thankfully, we were later allowed back inside. According to the YHA staff, it turned out to be a false alarm, most likely triggered by an aerosol spray or someone vaping inside. All right, time to move on from that hectic morning. We packed up, said goodbye to the YHA accommodation, and began our 1-hour trip down south to the Gold Coast.
This is a DC runway.
And now, we've arrived at Movieworld. Sit back and enjoy the footage I'm about to show you. After a long day at Movieworld, we spent the night doing a musical performance before heading to our new accommodation, the Gold Coast Big Four. This place was actually a full unit, complete with a personalized kitchen, living room, hairdryer, washing machine, and really nice bathrooms. Plus, of course, the bedrooms. We moved in around 10 p.m., and after such a busy day, we're pretty tired. Time to get some rest, so we're ready for an exciting day at Dreamworld tomorrow. Welcome to Dreamworld. We started our time here with a music performance, before spending the rest of the day enjoying the rides and attractions. At Dreamworld, I didn't get on as many rides as I did at Movieworld because my motion sickness started to kick in, especially after going on the steel taipan. But I still managed to sneak in a quick bite of fish and chips before leaving late in the afternoon. After that, we headed back briefly to our accommodation to freshen up before making our way to the Q1 Tower. We initially drove around the Gold Coast, exploring the city from the ground before making our way up to the Q1 Tower. This is the tallest building in Australia and the 144th tallest building in the world. From the top, I could capture stunning views of the Gold Coast, even spotting some of its beautiful beaches. The next day marked our final day in Queensland. The morning was spent sightseeing around the beaches one last time before we drove back up to Brisbane and ultimately to the airport. I'm honestly so sad to leave. These 5 days felt like they flew by in the blink of an eye. Welcome back to Brisbane Airport. The whole process here was quite different compared to other airports I've been to. First, we had to take a bridge across to the other side and then go down to access the check-in area. After checking in, we walked through an open-air section before finally entering the main terminal building. It was a unique layout and definitely not what I was expecting for a domestic airport. Before the flight, I managed to do some plane spotting around Brisbane Airport. Unfortunately, since this was the domestic terminal, I mostly captured the usual Qantas, Jetstar, and Virgin Australia flights. Nothing particularly extraordinary this time. And here is our aircraft, Victor Hotel, Victor Foxtrot Yankee, a 10-year-old Airbus A320 delivered in December 2014. Welcome on board this 10-year-old baby that will be taking us back to Melbourne. The seats on this aircraft look more modern compared to the older A320 I flew on 5 days ago. However, one thing I noticed is the absence of seat pockets, which the older aircraft still had. Aside from that, everything else feels pretty similar. After the safety demonstration was completed, we began our pushback for the journey back to Melbourne.
Melbourne, the local time is 6:30 in the evening. Please keep your seatbelt fastened and remain seated until the seatbelt sign has been switched off. Smoking, vaping and e-cigarettes.
And that wraps up my 5-day tour around Queensland. It's been a tiring journey, but definitely worth it with all the incredible adventures along the way. If you enjoyed following this trip, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and support me by following my Instagram.